Before we begin, I need you to hear something.
I couldn't read the sign on the door, son. I couldn't read exit. They fired me because I couldn't read exit. Don't let them tell you the world is fair. Build something that makes it fair.
That voice belonged to a janitor, a dyslexic man who lost his job because he misread a three-letter word. And that cassette?
Welcome to Inside Living Channel, where knowledge meets power.
Thanks for watching Inside Living Channel. Knowledge is power.
Subscribe so you don't miss episode 5. Like this video if you learned something new. And comment below.
His son carried it into a boardroom full of billionaires 6 years later.
I own your future. You couldn't be more wrong. This tape is the future.
This is the story of the pitch that broke Silicon Valley. Aidan Marchetti, 14 years old, no lawyer, no pitch deck, no revenue. He had taken 2 buses and a train to get here. 47 miles. His mother thought he was at the library.
Mark, this is ridiculous. He probably wants us to fund his lemonade stand.
A software company. Kid, you don't even have a high school diploma. What do you know about revenue, about churn, about unit economics?
Give me one reason, just one, why I shouldn't throw you out of this building right now.
I don't have a pitch deck, sir. This is my father. He was a janitor. He lost his job because he misread a memo labeled urgent. He came home that night, sat in the garage, and recorded this. No, sir, I want you to listen. Because you've spent 20 years looking at spreadsheets. My father spent 20 years looking at a garage wall, wondering why the world wasn't built for him. I look at this wall, and I just wonder why the world wasn't built for me.
Mark Falcone had heard 1,000 pitches, every empty promise. But no one had ever walked into his office holding their father's voice on magnetic.
Press play, sir. Then tell me I don't know anything about building something that matters.
Hello, Falcone. I suppose if you're hearing this, it means I'm gone. There's something important I must tell you.
Aiden, it's 2 a.m. Your mother is asleep. I'm sitting in the garage because I don't want her to hear me cry. You're 7 years old. You don't understand this yet. But one day, you'll ask me why I don't have an office, why we don't have a second car, why I come home with bandages on my hands and nothing in my wallet.
The human voice, when it's stripped of performance, is the most dangerous recording device ever invented. There's no auto-tune for shame, no filter for exhaustion.
I want you to know I wasn't lazy. I wasn't stupid. I couldn't read the way they wanted me to read. Words moved on the page, letters swapped places, and the world told me that was my fault. Today, my boss handed me a memo. It said, urgent, report to HR by 3 p.m. I read it as report to floor 3 by 3 p.m. I went to the wrong floor. I waited for an hour. They fired me for insubordination. Do you know what that word means? It means they thought I was disobeying on purpose. They couldn't imagine that a grown man, a father, simply couldn't read the sign on the door.
In that boardroom, no one breathed. The billionaires who had never missed a promotion, never failed a test,
Never been told they weren't enough, were hearing the other side of the American dream.
I drove home in silence. I parked the car. And I sat here for 3 hours, trying to figure out how to tell you that your father is a failure. But then I had an idea. A stupid idea. What if there was an app? Something that changed the font? Something that made the letters stop moving? Something that gave people like me just a little more time to read? I don't know how to build it. I don't know how to code. But you're 7 years old, and you already read at a 5th grade level. You're smart, Aiden. Smarter than me. Smarter than anyone I know. So I'm recording this. For you. For when you're older. For when someone tells you that you can't. Play this tape. Remember the garage. And build the thing I couldn't.
It doesn't arrive through arguments. It arrives through specific, unfiltered human details. It doesn't arrive through arguments. It arrives through specific, unfiltered human details.
I want you to know what I did next. I didn't cry in the garage. I didn't scream. I went inside, kissed your mother, and read you a bedtime story. Where the wild things are. You fell asleep on my chest, and I whispered something to you while you slept. I said, one day you will build something that helps people like me, and on that day I will be the proudest janitor who ever lived.
9. I taught myself from YouTube videos. My father couldn't afford a tutor, so I learned in the same garage where he recorded that tape.
Mark Falcone had made his first million at 28. He had never known hunger, never known the humiliation of being called stupid, never sat in a garage at 2 a.m. wondering how to tell his son he was a failure.
Your father, is he? He died last year, heart attack. He never saw the app, never knew I finished it.
But before he died, he asked me if I was still working on it. I said yes. He smiled. He said, good, then I didn't fail.
And that's when the businessman did something he had never done in 20 years of investing. He apologized.
I laughed at you. When my assistant said a 14-year-old was in the lobby, I laughed. I thought you were a joke. I built my career on spotting weaknesses in founders. I would ask them, what's your biggest failure? And it would give me rehearsed answers about missed quarterly targets or failed product launches. You just played me a failure that actually matters. Your father didn't fail because he missed a target. He failed because the world was built for people who aren't him. And you didn't build an app to get rich. You built it to finish his sentence.
In venture capital, there's a term called founder market fit. It means the founder has an unfair advantage because they are the customer. He wasn't the customer. His father was. And that was a deeper moat than any patent.
I didn't come here to raise money. Then why are you here? I'm here to change the game. That's a bold claim.
Because I want you to remember, the next time a kid walks into your office with a broken backpack and a crazy idea, I want you to remember this tape. I want you to remember that billionaires are temporary, but a son fixing his father's tears, that's permanent.
Sit down, please. I'm writing you a check, not because I pity you, not because I want to be part of a feel-good story. I'm writing you a check because you just taught me something that no MBA program could.
What's the valuation? I don't know what that means. Good. That's exactly why I'm doing this.
He had traveled 47 miles, taken 2 buses and a train, sat across from $400 million, and he was leaving without asking for a single dollar.
Build the thing your father dreamed about. And when you're rich, when you're sitting in this chair, remember the garage.
He walked out of that building with $2 million and no idea what a term sheet was. He didn't have a bank account in his name. His mother had to sign the deposit slip. He didn't hire a team, not at first. He locked himself in his bedroom for 8 months and rewrote the app from scratch. Every line of code, every font adjustment, every color calibration. The science was simple but profound. Isn't a vision problem. It's a processing problem. The brain receives the letters correctly, but scrambles them. By changing the font weight, increasing letter spacing, and adding a subtle gradient, the scrambling stopped.
Mom, I can read it. I can actually read it.
That video was uploaded to YouTube. No editing, no music, just a girl reading. It got 14 million views in 3 days. Within 6 months, Clarity Reader had 1 million users. Within a year, within 18 months, he was on the cover of Forbes. But he didn't celebrate. He didn't buy a car or a house. He went back to the garage. The garage had been empty for 2 years. After his father died, his mother couldn't bear to go in there. Boxes, old furniture, dust.
This is where he sat, right here. The refrigerator was there, the water heater there. And he would sit on this milk crate, and he would talk to me even though I was asleep inside.
He didn't cry at the funeral. He didn't cry when Falcone wrote the check. He didn't cry when Forbes called.
He cried here, in the place where his father's voice still lived in the walls.
I did it, Dad. I built it. I'm sorry you never got to see it.
And then he did something strange. He pulled out his phone, he opened the app, he changed the font to dyslexic mode, and he read his father's words again.
I want you to know, I wasn't lazy, I wasn't stupid, I couldn't read the way they wanted me to read.
He read the entire transcript, every word his father had recorded. And for the first time in his life,
the letters didn't move for him either, because he had built a world where they couldn't.
Here's the part of the story that businessmen tells at every conference now. The part that makes billionaires go quiet.
You want to know the irony? Aiden Marchetti is dyslexic. He never told me that during the pitch. He let me assume he was normal. But he couldn't read the word.
Exit any better than his father could. He built an app for his father, but he needed it for himself.
The app that Adon built has been downloaded over 40 million times. It's translated into 90 languages. It's used in prisons, in refugee camps, in rural villages without electricity. And Bakrao, he's 22 now. He never finished high school. He never went to college. He employs 400 people. And every single employee, regardless of their role, spends their first day in the garage.
I want them to understand. This isn't a software company. It's a promise. My father couldn't read the sign on the door, so I built a door that didn't need reading.
I kept that check as a reminder, not of the money, of the moment I realized that everything I thought I knew about business was backwards.
In business school, they teach you to look for traction, for market size, for defensible moats. They don't teach you to look for the garage. They don't teach you to listen for the tremor in a father's voice at 2 a.m.
Rule number 1, founders who cry in boardrooms aren't weak. They've just run out of room to hide their reasons. Rule number 2, the best pitch decks are the ones you don't need, because the story lives somewhere else. In a backpack, on a tape, in a garage. Rule number 3, billionaires are temporary. But a son fixing his father's tears?
Falcone gave a speech at Stanford last sprung, a room full of MBAs who wanted to know his secret. He walked to the podium, pulled out the cassette tape, and held it up.
This is the only due diligence you'll ever need, not the financials, not the projections. Ask the founder, why are you really here? And if they can answer without a rehearsed script, write the check.
Young boy doesn't give interviews anymore. He doesn't do podcasts or keynotes. He shows up to work, sits in a glass office overlooking San Francisco, and keeps a single object on his desk.
He's not scared anymore, but he keeps it there to remind himself that the world is full of people who can't read the sign
on the door. Not because they're stupid, because the door was built by someone who never had to try.
If you're watching this and you've ever been told you're not enough, build the thing. Not because you want to be rich, because someone, somewhere is... My father died thinking he was a failure. He wasn't. He was just early. Don't be early. Be loud. Be persistent. Walk into boardrooms with broken backpacks and play your...
A young Hispanic boy has never taken a salary above $50,000. The rest goes back into the app.